Hi, this is Clayton. In this demo, I'm going to show you how to sign up for CodeZero with GitHub, how to add a repository as a CodeZero project, and how to configure that repository to run CodeZero jobs. Let's get started by clicking the Sign In with GitHub button on codezero.blueflametech.com. Since this is the first time this account is signed in, I will be asked to authorize Blueflame Technologies. So I'll click on the green button to do that. Now I will be directed back to CodeZero, where I'm logged in and presented with the project dashboard. Here you'll see a card for each repository you have added as a project in CodeZero. No navigating complex folder structures or hopping across URLs, just your projects at a glance in one place. Since this is my first time logging in with this account, I have no project cards. So I'm going to click on the empty card with the plus sign to add one. Here, all the repositories that Blueflame Technologies has access to are shown organized by user and organization ownership. Sometimes GitHub makes you authorize your user as an organization. This is why I can't yet see any repositories listed. I can fix this by clicking on the Add an Organization link. When prompted by GitHub, I'll authorize my user account, Ash Williams. Now when I try to add a repository, I can see that Ash's repositories are available to add as CodeZero projects. But as it turns out, Ash is super busy fighting the supernatural, so he only has one repository named Boomstick. So I'll click the plus sign to the right to add that as a project. We can see that shortly after I close the Add a New Project modal, there's now a new project Boomstick shown as a project card on the dashboard. Clicking on the body of the card takes me to the Boomstick project's details. Here we can see more information about the project, including its job execution history, if it had one. Let's make sure the CodeZero configuration is in place so that we can get some jobs up and running. To do this, I'm going to navigate over to the Boomstick repository containing the CodeZero configuration. Now, everyone knows that Ash and his Boomstick are a lethal combination, but can he retrieve the Necronomicon without awakening the army of the dead? No, he can't. But who knows? Maybe this time will be different. I mean, probably not, but maybe. This project is a simple Python project that reads in the unholy words that Ash must speak before taking possession of the Necronomicon. It reads them in from an environment variable. And then it displays the result. Let's see if Ash can get it right this time. Looking at the CodeZero configuration, we can see that it starts off by declaring that the language is Python version 3.9. It's also configured to trigger a job on any commit to any branch in the repo. And there is a single secret defined, which is encrypted armored text of the unholy words that Ash must speak before taking possession of the Necronomicon.
Clada Veranda Nicto.
Okay, maybe that wasn't every single tiny syllable, but that's basically it. Moving on to ops. There is a quest operation group with a single operation, say the words. All he had to do was say the words, but I digress. By default, the path is equivalent to the name of the operation relative to the repository root. Since we don't have a say the words directory, the path is overridden by the very appropriately named path property. We can also see that there is a single environment variable defined for the operation named unholy words, which is assigned the decrypted value of the secret unholy words. Now, this is an environment variable that's local to the operation. We could have just as easily made it a global environment variable, and that would have had the same net effect for this particular configuration. Then there's the script property that declares what the operation does. We can see that this operation executes a Python program. A Python program that will read in the unholy words environment variable and determine if Ash said the right words this time. Finally, we have a single stage defined. If we think of operations as reusable bits of functionality, we can think of stages as the orchestrations of that functionality. Operations are executed by stages, and our single stage, retrieve the Necronomicon, executes the operation group quest, which will in turn execute every operation it contains in order, which in this case is just the say the words operation. It's also possible to refer to operations in stages by their fully qualified names, which consist of the operation group and the dot operator followed by the operation's name. Think about what that means. Both operation groups and operations can be reused across different stages. Okay, enough about this configuration. Let's trigger an event to create a job. Since I didn't actually do anything to the repository that would trigger an event, I'm going to manually trigger an event against the main branch. After clicking Submit, we can see a new submitted job showing up in the event history. Clicking on a job shows its logs as they are emitted. We can now see that the job is initializing. Once finished initializing, its status is updated from submitted to running. Clicking the tail logs button pins the display to the bottom of the logs. Not really necessary for this job, but hey, clicking on things is fun, right? And hey, the job completed successfully. Looks like Ash said the right words this time.
Okay then. That's it.
Not so fast. Let's see what happens when the wrong words are used. I mean, aside from unleashing the army of the dead and jeopardizing all of humanity. To do that, we need to replace the secret unholy words, which means we need to encrypt new secret unholy words, then paste the new encrypted armored text into the CodeZero configuration file. That should do it. After I commit, it should trigger the creation of a new job that we will see in the event history. There it is. And if I click on it to see the logs, yeah, then we should be able to see that the job did fail. And unfortunately, I have doomed us all. So apologies for that. Finally, we can also see that the result of jobs run against commits get attached to those commits as checks. Clicking on the check shows the last job status against the branch, and drilling into that will bring us back to the CodeZero application with the corresponding job selected. Okay, that pretty much wraps it up. As a recap, we discussed how to sign up for CodeZero with GitHub, how to add a repository as a CodeZero project, and how to configure that repository to run CodeZero jobs. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't yet signed up, browse to codezero.blueflametech.com and sign up. It's free.